So just to clear things up for those of you that are watching the channel, that the mics that I've been recording gameplay videos off of the PlayStation consoles may not sound as clear as you're hoping. So just to throw that out, if a lot of videos here recently have not sounded the best. But with that being said, today we're going to talk about Days Gone Remastered for the PlayStation 5. Now, this remaster just came out 2 days ago. I am actually close to about 2 hours into the game, and I'm going to do a somewhat of a review for this remaster to just tell you guys and give you guys, my personal experience with Days Gone Remastered and how is the game holding up. So, if you currently own Days Gone Remastered for the PlayStation 4, whether if it's digital or the disc, you can just upgrade the game for $10+. But there is one area that I definitely do not give Sony credit on, and that is if you own the game digitally through PlayStation Plus, when you were somebody that got your hands on a PlayStation 5, at launch or within the first couple of years, and this game was one of those PlayStation 4 game catalogs that Sony was giving out for free if you got a PlayStation 5 between the first 2 years of it being out. So one of those games was indeed Days Gone for the PlayStation 4. So if you own it digital through PlayStation Plus when Sony gave out the game for free, well, the thing I have to, say is that it will not let you charge, it will not, charge you $10. So in order to get the game, you're going to have to upgrade to basically you're going to have to pay the full price is what I'm trying to say. So it's going to be $50+ in order to get, the remaster version of the game if you own it through PlayStation Plus. But if you're somebody that owns it, that either bought it digitally or has a hard physical copy on the PS4, you could just pop that disc in and get, the $10 upgrade. So, one thing I am going to, however, say is that this game definitely, it looks insanely beautiful. Now, the PlayStation 4 version actually did look, gorgeous. It honestly still looks good to this day. But the PlayStation 5 version, it may not be like a super, super gigantic, upgrade like, some other games like freaking Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered was. But one thing that I am going to say is it's definitely still, honestly, in my opinion, worth $10 of an upgrade. Now, if you own it through PlayStation Plus and you have to pay $50 to get this upgraded remaster, then I would probably say that it's not honestly worth the $50 upgrade, because I will say, there's not a huge difference in graphics, but there is still somewhat of a noticeable difference. But if you have the game and you're able to get $10 upgrade, if you're able to upgrade for $10, it's definitely worth it. But if you have to basically pay the full price, then I would say it's definitely not worth the upgrade. But with this remaster on the PlayStation 5, you have two graphical modes. This game is also PS5 Pro enhanced if you have a PlayStation 5 Pro. So you will get the best experience with the PlayStation 5 Pro. Now, the base PS5, I'm actually playing on quality mode at 30 frames a second at 4K, and I personally think that the game looks gorgeous, and it is playing a rock solid 30 frames a second. And honestly, this is probably the mode that I'm probably going to play on. But there is definitely people out there that, absolutely like the performance mode. Now, in order to go there, you're going to want to go to options. And over here, you're going to want to go over to graphics. And then right there is the difference between quality and performance mode. You can see, it says performance favors frame rate over resolution, rendered at 1440p with a target of 60 frames a second. And then the mode that we're currently on below is quality mode that favors resolution over frame rate, renders the game at 4K, but targets 30 frames a second. Now, like I said, I have switched between both performance and quality modes altogether, and I do think that no matter which mode that you do, you're going to be satisfied with either. There is one big red flag that I will have to get with this game that I definitely do remember that the PS4 version not having, and that is right here. So as you can see, we're just going straight, but you could just tell he's like turning in a circle in a way a little bit. So I think this is a bug into the game that when you are playing, when you're basically running straight, you'll just start immediately turning like as if your controller has some sorts of stick drift. But I do know for a fact that my controllers don't have stick drift because I have two regular PlayStation 5s, and I literally get this problem on both of them on like 3 different controllers that I currently have that have no signs of stick drift whatsoever. So I think this could very well be a bug in the game and whatnot, and I honestly hope that Sony addresses this and just ends up fixing it in somewhat of a future firmware update, which I know that there are going to be some updates with this game. It's just how things are. It's with, games coming out and remasters of re-releases games and such. There's always going to be some updates that they are going to do. But I can honestly say, besides the minor, bugs and just the $10 upgrade fee, I can personally say that this game is absolutely worth $10 if you are able to upgrade, whether if you do fully own the game digital or you have a hard physical PlayStation 4 version. Now, the graphics and the details do look a tiny bit better, but it is definitely not a, substantially, more, cleaner. It's not a, gigantic day and night difference and whatnot. But honestly, if you're able to get it for $10, the graphics and the extra detail is worth it. But if you have to pay $50 from basically owning the game like through PlayStation Plus with the, PS Plus catalog of games that Sony gave away, then you're just better off to play the PlayStation 4 version on your PlayStation 5, as it is still going to look 4K like with basically the enhanced frame rate for basically playing it on the PlayStation 5, because Sony did, however, release some frame rate, upgrades for some PlayStation 4 games, like the original Horizon Zero Dawn, as well as some other games that you can just immediately pop in your disc or download on your PS5, and you get either smoother frame rates or higher graphical fidelity. But one thing I can say is that the PS4 version of Days Gone, such as like Ghost of Tsushima, as well as The Last of Us Part 2, you can just play those games on a PlayStation 4 and literally, or a PlayStation 5, I don't know why I said PlayStation 4, and literally get smoother frame rates while getting those nice PS4 Pro enhancements. So if you can get this game, if you can get the upgrade for $10, it's worth it. But if you're somebody that owns it through PlayStation Plus digitally and you don't have the option to upgrade for $10, then it's just pretty much better to just play the PS4 version on the PS5, as it's still going to get that 4K crisp of the PS4 Pro enhancement while unlocking the frame rate to 60 FPS. So, that said, if I had to give this remaster a score, I would honestly say it's not a perfect 10 out of 10, but in terms of the slightly better quality and visual fidelity, and then having the extra options in like quality and performance mode, and then basically combining them two on the PlayStation 5 Pro, I honestly will say I'd probably give this game a 7.5 out of 10 to an 8 out of 10. So, not a perfect remaster, not like Horizon Zero Dawn Remaster was, but if you can get this game for $10 for an upgrade, then it's definitely worth it. So yeah, a 7.5/8 out of 10 is what I give this game. So, Days Gone Remastered is honestly worth it if you can get the $10 upgrade. If you don't have the game or whatnot whatsoever, and you were thinking about buying it, I would definitely say then the $50 would be worth it. But if you have the game through PlayStation Plus from the PS Plus catalog of games that Sony gave for the PS5 for getting a PS5 a couple years ago, then it's not worth the $50. You can just simply play the PS4 version, and it's still going to look very crisp and very detailed while having that nice frame rate. So, with that being said, a 7.5 out of 10 to an 8 out of 10 is what I give Days Gone Remaster a. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you could, smack that like button, subscribe if you are new to the channel, and we will keep you posted with more content like this going forward. And let us know in the comment section down below if you are somebody that was able to get Days Gone Remastered for $10, and how is your experience with it on your PlayStation 5 or PlayStation 5 Pro? Or are you somebody that just stuck with your PlayStation 4 version on your PS5 and you're still just, satisfied with the PS4 version with how it looks and unlocking the nice, smooth 60 FPS frame rates on that version playing on a PS5? So let us know in the comment section down below of your thoughts of Days Gone Remastered, if you got it, upgraded it, or if you decided to just stick with the PS4 version. But with that being said, this is Tech and Gaming Reviews. Hope you enjoyed the video, and we will see you in the next one.